41 years old. Of course, there's always
Didn't look like it.
back-to-back.
Didn't look like it.
Every back-to-back for the rest of the season is TBD. I am 41. I got the most minutes in NBA history.
True.
You know, it's out of the roof. I'm working on my game. You know, I'm really confident in myself right now, so I'm ready to go out there.
How different is it from a year ago?
Oh, it's miles different. Like I mean, I feel very confident in my game right now, so I'm ready.
Everyone treated the Los Angeles Lakers like they were untouchable royalty, a Hollywood dynasty protected by spotlight and silence. This was supposed to be the perfect machine, purple and gold polished to a shine, with LeBron James quietly pulling every invisible string like a studio boss who always gets final cut. The image was clean, powerful, and carefully managed, a legacy wrapped in banners and branding that felt impossible to crack. Then one clumsy front office move hit the floor, and the fairy tale started coughing up smoke fast. The exit of the Smoke Bros was not just a headline moment or a minor shakeup. It flipped the entire power structure on its head and lit a fuse nobody expected. This was not background noise or media chatter. This was pressure building behind closed doors, the kind that rattles even the strongest organizations. LeBron did not explode publicly or fire off angry statements. He smiled, dropped a tweet, stayed quiet, and that silence spoke louder than any rant ever could. No damage control tour, no emotional interviews. Just calm on the surface while something clearly shifted underneath.
Really disrespectful. It's not possibly towards LeBron James. I am pleading with LeBron James as a father. Stop this. Stop this. We all know that Bronny James is in the NBA because of his dad. The first game of the season, opening night, the Griffies in attendance.
Have been some of the preliminary conversations you've had with your father about what's expected in the NBA and what you can expect to hear and see once you start playing?
You know, we haven't gone too deep into that stuff yet, especially because we haven't even started Summer League yet. But, you know, just stuff that he's been telling me my whole life, just having that work ethic and coming in and getting your work in and listening to your coaches and being coachable, stuff like that he's, you know, driven into my head my whole life.
Bronny James just dropped 39 points in the G League, and LeBron had one message: smile through it all. Most people said Bronny only made it because of his dad. Now, he's silencing the critics with career highs and stat sheets that talk pretty loud. In South Bay's 122-118 win over Santa Cruz, Bronny went off. 39 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals. LeBron posted right after, keep going. From people calling it nepotism to being the first father and son duo to...
Something cracked behind the curtain, and the fallout could end up reshaping how this whole era gets remembered. Now put yourself in LeBron's shoes for a second. You are the self-proclaimed king, the face of the league for 2 decades, and suddenly you are watching your own son get pushed off the roster of the franchise you helped define. That is not normal basketball drama. That is ego, legacy, and family colliding at full speed. That kind of moment makes grown men pace rooms and turn social media into a battlefield overnight. And here is the part people whisper but rarely say out loud. This reaction is not just about losing a teammate. It is about an uncomfortable truth fans struggle to face. Many do not believe Bronny James made it because he dominated the process. They believe he made it because the system opened the door, polished the key, and wrapped it in brand value and corporate courtesy. Now you have players watching closely and fans quietly hoping he does not see real minutes right away. The story was sold on fantasy, not film. His time with USC Trojans men's basketball was rough, with missed games and limited impact that raised eyebrows. The numbers did not scream readiness either, a stat line that would make even a patient coach sigh deeply. 5 points per game after returning from a serious medical scare is not a launch pad. It is a question mark, and right now the entire league is watching to see what happens next. That is not an NBA resume. It is a participation slip, plain and simple. In any normal timeline, this story looks very different. He stays in school, sharpens the basics, adds strength, learns how to control pace, and earns his place properly. That is how the league usually works. But this is LeBron's world, and in that world, waiting is never part of the plan. Playing alongside his son in the NBA was always the dream. Too shiny to delay, too symbolic to push back. So instead of a slow build, what did we get? A raw developmental project turned into a global headline. A prospect wrapped in $1 billion brand, protected from real scrutiny, insulated from the kind of pressure that forces growth. And yes, the missteps are real, no matter how hard people pretend they are not.
May not have the leverage to get Bryce into the NBA. And because I do think that was his plan. He may not have the leverage to keep Bronny in the NBA. And I know Bronny's got this contract, and if he sticks with the Lakers, maybe it's inevitable. But if LeBron ever has to really force his way out, that may be the end of Bronny's career. That's where LeBron has potentially miscalculated, because his greed, his desire to play with his son may end up blowing up in his face.
Now, forget all the distractions, what people are saying. That's got to feel good coming into you, number two.
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah. You know, everything is paid off. All the work, all the late nights, all the early mornings, you know, putting the right things in my body, lifting, everything. So, yeah.
What do you see as like an avenue that you might take this year? I know defensively, you know, your bouncy, the outside shot. I know defense is to me is your best, but what do you see another avenue you might improve on going forward this year?
I mean, as a PG, just being, you know, having the ball in my hands and be comfortable with the ball in my hands and, you know, running.
Watching Bronny James try to survive NBA minutes feels like watching someone attempt a triple backflip in Crocs. Brave, chaotic, and painful to sit through. He drives straight into defenders that scare fully grown pros. Missed rotations pile up so fast that you start wondering if defense is optional or simply ignored. Off-ball movement is non-existent, drifting, lazy, disconnected. It looks less like game awareness and more like he is auditioning for a basketball-themed sleep commercial. 1 second, the ball is swinging toward the paint. The next, Bronny is parked on the wing, admiring the scenery while defenders relax and the offense dies on contact. Zero pressure, zero advantage. Possessions wasted without resistance. Take the name James off the back of that jersey and this entire conversation disappears instantly. Nobody is lining up to defend a point guard who cannot read the floor, cannot create passing angles, and cannot finish consistently at the rim in this league. Those flaws usually get you glued to the bench, sent to the G League, or quietly phased out. But when the last name is James, expectations suddenly drop and people start buying into a fairy tale that ignores what is happening on the court. And let's be clear, this is not hate. This is observation backed by film. Film does not lie. Patterns do not lie. The NBA is supposed to be a merit-based battlefield where the best survive because they impact winning, not because their last name carries weight. Yet here we are, celebrating routine three-pointers like they solved global problems, while ignoring the reality unfolding possession after possession. Every forced shot, every ignored open teammate, every drive into a wall of defenders is another snapshot of a system rewarding narrative over performance. That is the part that frustrates fans the most. This is supposed to be the highest level of basketball on earth. Fans are not blind. A huge chunk of them want Bronny gone. Not out of cruelty, but out of respect for the game. They know there are players grinding overseas, dominating the G League, starving for a real opportunity. Guys earning minutes the hard way, not inheriting them. They see him drifting through rotations like he is touring a music festival instead of fighting a professional war for his livelihood, and it drives them insane. This league is survival, not sightseeing. The NBA keeps dressing this up as opportunity, patience, and development. But the math does not change. Minutes are finite, and everyone handed out carries a cost. Every circus layup attempt, every heat check pull-up from absurd range is a minute taken from someone who actually earned it. That is the part people keep glossing over. These are not harmless experiments. These are real NBA minutes, and every one of them comes at someone else's expense, someone who fought their way here the hard way.
If they had these two guys on the Bucks while also trying to sell them as the future of the team, dude, people would be slamming Milwaukee for that. But instead, we kind of let it go because at least they're honest. We all know it's to keep their star happy, so do what you gotta do. But Bronny? From day one, it's been a lie. Like, kid missed double-digit games at USC, averaged 5 points a game after cardiac arrest. In any other world, he would return to school for another year.
The Lakers had a preseason game. There were a lot of games going on yesterday. There were the Lakers versus the Warriors. We had the Suns versus the Nets. We had the Clippers versus the Denver Nuggets, and of course the Lakers game. So I told you guys this year I'm going to be spending a little bit more time watching the Lakers, kind of understand the team. And I caught the game, like I was catching bits and pieces of it. I didn't watch the game all the way throughout because I was looking for topics for today. But anyway, the Lakers had a pretty decent lead from basically cheer. It needs to be about these people being serious. It needs to be about that. Like, the Lakers need to be serious this year. And I'm one of the people that said, I believe that the Lakers are going to be able to get off to a good enough start, even with LeBron James out of the lineup. I think they're going to be competitive. I absolutely think that the Lakers have a chance to be competitive, but I'm not with all of these antics, and I don't think he should be on the roster. It just is what it is. Y'all are promoting this guy and making headlines and all of this stuff when he doesn't deserve it. There are players on that roster that deserve those headlines, for goodness sake.
And then there is the coaching staff, a group that somehow decided the smartest move was giving a raw prospect every green light imaginable. No leash, no real consequences, just vibes and encouragement. Defensive lapses get labeled learning moments. Offensive disasters are framed as part of the journey. Passive off-ball movement gets excused as development. In reality, this is professional failure dressed up as narrative protection. Picture a point guard whose entire job is to orchestrate, create, and read the floor. Instead, possessions get treated like a personal video game. Buttons mashed, shots forced, physics tested, ego involved all at once. That is not confidence. That is delusion enabled by privilege, gift wrapped in something called brand opportunity. And yes, it is both uncomfortable to watch and unintentionally funny. The broadcast somehow managed to make it worse. Every miss turns into growth. Every turnover becomes courage. Commentators nod along and gently remind viewers that this is a young man finding his place. Meanwhile, veterans grinding through summer leagues and brutal training camps are watching from a distance, fully aware that in their world, one bad night can erase a career. There are no safety nets for them, no patient speeches, no protective narratives. Take Russell Westbrook as a clear example. He has fought for every dollar, every rep, every ounce of relevance in this league. Year after year, he earned his spot the hard way. And now he is staring at a future where he could make less money than a kid who struggles to crack double figures unless defenses choose not to guard him. That kind of imbalance does not just annoy fans. It creates quiet resentment. Respect turns into frustration. Even journalists start questioning why they cover this sport at all. And the decision-making late in possessions is where the absurdity really shines. Point guards are supposed to see the floor, direct traffic, and make smart reads under pressure. Instead, we are watching someone treat elite defenses like an open buffet. 3 defenders collapse. A wide-open teammate is waiting on the wing. A big man is standing alone in the paint. And the choice is still to force a shot straight into traffic. That is not development. That is chaos masquerading as confidence. And people are finally getting tired of pretending otherwise. 6 seconds left on the shot clock. Step back 3. That is not confidence. That is performance anxiety wearing a bravado costume. It looks even stranger because nobody is allowed to criticize it openly. The narrative wraps Bronny James in a protective bubble, deflecting hard questions before they even finish forming. And while the on-court comedy is obvious, the off-court implications are even louder. LeBron James, his presence is not just support, it is armor. Corporate courtesy, legacy politics, and brand protection stacked together to make sure Bronny can stumble through a full season without real consequences. Defenders barely bother to close out. Opponents treat his minutes with polite indifference. Fans asking for accountability get drowned out by people yelling about patience, growth, and long-term vision. Every small success gets inflated into a heroic milestone. Every mistake gets brushed off as potential loading. Game after game turns into a public experiment testing how far the NBA is willing to bend for one last name. It is not just frustrating, it is grotesque. Watching Bronny play feels like watching a trust fund intern dropped into a high-stakes corporate merger. Is there effort? Sure. He probably has a good heart. He brings energy. He listens. He fits the locker room vibe. All great traits, but skill creates impact, and impact is missing. Those qualities sound nice on a podcast, not in a league where grown men live and breathe basketball. Men whose families depend on this grind. Against that backdrop, the privilege surrounding him makes every misstep funny, sad, and infuriating at the same time. It turns a professional game into a circus where everyone is forced to pretend this is normal. And here's the real issue. This is not about potential anymore. It is about minutes, opportunity, and integrity. Every possession Bronny consumes is one less chance for someone else to fight for their livelihood. Every forced shot without consequences feels like a slap in the face to players grinding overseas or stuck in the G League, where one bad night can erase years of work. That is the cost of bending reality for a name. And people are finally done pretending they do not see it. Every over-the-top celebration of a three-pointer that barely shifts the game exposes how absurd this situation has become. The NBA claims its standards are ruthless, but somehow Bronny James is exempt from nearly all of them.
Bronny James played last night.
Oh, did he play?
Yeah, he did. He did what he does.
Goose. Now, how does he only get up 2 shots?
Because
you gotta go out there and squeeze. Nah, bro, you gotta get out there and squeeze. Your dad's not playing right now. There's no Luka. I'm coming in the game.
You would think that
2 shots. Two shots.
Yeah, but your boy Bronny James only took 2 shots.
Come on, bro.
He missed them both. But you're right. The Lakers are 500, right?
Fans see it. Coaches see it. The league sees it. Yet the narrative keeps rolling like nothing is wrong. Bronny is not an NBA player in the traditional sense. He is a brand, a storyline, a traveling spectacle. Playing alongside LeBron James is historic, sure, but it comes at a real cost. Team flow suffers. Fan patience wears thin. League credibility takes a hit. And here is the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to sit with. The moment that protection disappears, whether LeBron retires or simply moves on, the question will not be, can Bronny survive? It will be, does he belong at all? History is brutally clear. Nepotism in professional sports always has an expiration date. Charm, energy, and heart are nice. They make you likable, they make you marketable, they sell headlines and jerseys, but they do not make you an NBA rotation player in a league where results are supposed to matter. Film does not lie. Stats do not lie. Defenders treating Bronny like a decoy instead of a threat is a silent indictment, louder than any hot take. Every missed rotation, every forced shot, every bad read is a reminder that legacy and skill are not the same thing. And that is exactly why so many fans want him gone. Not out of jealousy, not out of cruelty. They want him gone because they respect basketball. They see a player absorbing minutes, attention, and opportunity that others would bleed for. Players grinding overseas, players stuck in developmental leagues where one mistake can wipe out a career overnight. People keep asking the same question, and it is getting louder by the week. How long can the league stretch reality before it finally snaps? The situation is frustrating, absurd, and unintentionally funny all at once. Watching coverage twist itself into knots to frame this as developmental success feels like putting a bow on a brick and calling it a diamond. Strip away the last name, remove the brand, kill the narrative. What you are left with is a question nobody wants to answer out loud. What does Bronny James actually do on a basketball court that justifies an NBA roster spot? The answer is painfully obvious. Nothing that translates at this level. He does not shoot consistently. He does not finish at the rim with authority. He does not collapse defenses. He does not read the floor at speed. He does not create real advantages for teammates. That is not opinion, that is film. What he does have is privilege, narrative insulation, and a father powerful enough to turn the NBA into a personal showcase. That combination is entertaining, surreal, and infuriating at the same time. But it is not basketball. The reality is simple. Until the league separates sentiment from skill, this circus keeps rolling. Minutes will continue being handed out based on storylines instead of performance. Fans will keep arguing, commentators will keep glossing over mistakes, and Bronny will keep existing inside a protected bubble where accountability barely applies. No other player could survive like this. Any other guard with the same production would be benched, sent down, or quietly phased out. But when the last name is James, standards suddenly soften and expectations get rewritten. And here is the part the league cannot dodge forever. When that protection fades, when LeBron James steps away and the brand shield disappears, reality will hit fast. The question will not be about development anymore. It will be about belonging. Playing alongside your father does not make you a professional basketball player. Legacy is not a substitute for talent. Marketability is not the same as impact. And feel-good narratives do not win games. If you are tired of narrative-beating performance, tired of excuses, tired of corporate courtesy dressed up as development, it is time to say it out loud. This conversation matters because systems only change when people stop pretending. Drop a comment if you actually understand basketball. Share this with someone who watches the film, not the headlines. And if you want more breakdowns that do not tiptoe around reality, stay locked in. This story is not finished, and the next chapter is coming fast.